Naomi Reeves stood at the observation deck of Harmony Station, watching the twin moons of Kepler 62F rise over the horizon. The human colony, established just 7 years ago, had transformed from a collection of prefabricated modules into a thriving community of 3,000 people. Beautiful, isn't it? Vincent's arms wrapped around her waist from behind, his chin resting on her shoulder. "Never gets old," Naomi replied, leaning back against her husband's chest. As head of security for the colony, she rarely allowed herself moments of tranquility, but tonight was different. "Where's Ethan?" "Fast asleep. The botany expedition wore him out," Vincent chuckled. "He collected so many samples Dr. Sharma had to give him extra containers." Naomi smiled, imagining their 8-year-old son's enthusiasm. "He's going to be a scientist like his father." With his mother's determination. Vincent turned her around, his brown eyes warm in the ambient light. "1 year until rotation, Naomi. Then we can take that trip to Earth we've been promising." "Ethan." The security comm on Naomi's wrist chimed, interrupting the moment. "Reeves here." "Chief, we're picking up unusual readings at the edge of our sensor range," reported Jensen, her night shift lieutenant. "Multiple objects decelerating." "From FTL." Naomi's expression hardened. "Colonial Authority vessels?" "Negative. Configuration unknown. They're not responding to hails. Sound yellow alert. I'm on my way." She kissed Vincent quickly. "Probably nothing, but go," he said, understanding as always. "I'll check on Ethan." Naomi sprinted to the security center, arriving just as the first images of the approaching vessels appeared on the main screen. 7 ships, their hulls gleaming with an iridescent black material unlike any human design. "What the hell are those?" Jensen whispered. Before Naomi could respond, the colony's administrator, Director Franklin, burst in. "Reeves, Colonial Authority has no scheduled arrivals. These could be First Contact, the communication system." Crackled to life, and a face appeared on screen. At least, Naomi thought it was a face. The being had 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern above what might have been a mouth. The skin, a pale blue with symmetrical ridges along the sides. "Human settlement." The translation software struggled with the alien language. "You occupy Presidian territory. The hegemony claims this world." Franklin stepped forward. "We weren't aware of any prior claims. We're willing to discuss." Discussion concluded. The transmission cut abruptly. Sensor alarms blared as the alien vessels opened fire. The station shuddered under the first barrage, emergency systems howling. "Full evacuation protocol." Naomi shouted, activating the colony-wide alert. "Get everyone to the shelters and shuttles." The next hours passed in a blur of chaos. Presidian weapons tore through Harmony's defenses as if they were paper. Naomi coordinated evacuation efforts while security teams tried desperately to buy time. She lost contact with Vincent after the first hour when the residential section took a direct hit. Naomi fought her way through smoke-filled corridors toward their quarters, helping injured colonists along the way. When she finally reached their living unit, she found only rubble. In the ruins of what had been Ethan's room, she discovered Vincent's body, curled protectively around the space where their son should have been. Of Ethan, there was no sign. "Vincent," she whispered, cradling his head, tears cutting tracks through the soot on her face. A secondary explosion rocked the corridor, throwing Naomi against a wall. Something sharp pierced her side. The world began to fade, blood soaking her uniform. Through fading consciousness, she heard Versidian troops entering the section. With the last of her strength, she dragged herself into a maintenance shaft, pulling a service panel closed behind her. Hours later, barely alive, Naomi emerged to find Harmony Station in ruins. Using her security override, she managed to reach a damaged shuttle in the auxiliary bay. As she programmed the autopilot with trembling fingers, she watched through the viewport as the Versidian ships methodically destroyed what remained of the colony. "Remember," she whispered, as the shuttle broke atmosphere, her blood leaving dark patterns on the control panel. "Remember everything." The small craft slipped away into the darkness of space, carrying with it the last surviving member of Harmony Station, and the seeds of vengeance that would shake the foundations of the Versidian hegemony. Rebirth in shadow, the shuttle drifted for 17 days. Naomi survived on emergency rations and nanomedicine patches, drifting in and out of consciousness as the craft's minimal life support systems struggled to maintain her. On the 18th day, the proximity alarm jolted her awake. A vessel loomed. Outside its design, unlike any human or Versidian craft she'd seen, the shuttle systems registered an incoming transmission. "Human vessel, this is Independent Trader Nightshade. You're venting atmosphere. Responding to distress beacon." Naomi could barely activate the comm. "Help ... was all she managed before darkness claimed her again. She awoke in a medical bay of unfamiliar design. Instruments hummed around her, monitoring vital signs. The wound in her side had been treated, though the pain lingered. "You're surprisingly resilient," came a gravelly voice. Naomi turned to see a tall, muscular figure approaching. His skin was amber with a faint luminescence, eyes completely black except for flecks of gold. Four-fingered hands adjusted something on her medical pod. "Synovian?" she asked, recognizing the species from colonial databases. "Krell," he corrected. "My name, not my species. Though yes, I'm Synovian. And you're the sole survivor of a Versidian cleansing operation." Memories flooded back Vincent's lifeless body, the destruction of Harmony, Ethan missing. Naomi tried to sit up, but fell back, gasping. "Easy," Krell cautioned. "You've been reconstructed at the cellular level. Takes time to adjust." "Where are we heading?" "Nexus Point, trading hub beyond official space. No extradition, no questions. Perfect place to disappear." He studied her face, or to become someone new. Over the following weeks as they traveled, Naomi learned Krell's story. Once a respected merchant in Synovian space, he'd lost everything when the Versidians annexed his homeworld. Now he ran contraband through the fringe systems, specializing. In technology, the hegemony would rather keep suppressed. "Why help me?" Naomi asked one night as they shared a meal in the ship's galley. Krell's expression darkened. "My family was at our colony's central market when the Versidian purge began. I was off-world." His black eyes met hers. "I understand what drives you now." When they reached Nexus Point, a sprawling space station built into an asteroid, Naomi was strong enough to walk. The station was a chaotic blend of species and cultures, all existing outside the jurisdiction of major powers. "First stop," Krell announced, leading her through crowded corridors, "is Dr. Patel." Dr. Patel operated a cybernetics clinic in the station's lower levels. Once a pioneering researcher at Europa University, she now worked beyond the restrictions of Earth regulations. "Military-grade neural enhancements," Patel explained, displaying holographic schematics. "Reaction time, pain suppression, heightened senses. Expensive, but Krell says you're good for it." "I have nothing," Naomi admitted. "You have information," Krell countered. "Versidian attack patterns, colonial defense codes. Valuable to the right people." Over the next 6 months, Naomi transformed. Dr. Patel's enhancements integrated with her nervous system. Her eyes were replaced with multispectral implants that glowed faintly blue in dim light. Training came from Jorax, a disgraced Versidian warrior who'd fled the hegemony after questioning its expansion policies. "The Versidians believe in superiority through perfection," Jorax explained during combat training. "Learn their weaknesses. and you find their fear. At night, when nightmares of Harmony's destruction jolted her awake, Krell was often there. Their relationship evolved cautiously, at first physical comfort, becoming something deeper. His touch anchored her when memories threatened to pull her under. "I'm not who I was," she confessed one night, tracing the new scars and implant ports that marked her body. "None of us are," Krell replied, his fingers intertwining with hers. "We're what survival demands." By the time Naomi accessed her first Versidian data cache intercepted by one of Krell's contacts, she barely recognized her reflection. The security chief from Harmony Station was gone, replaced by a weapon honed for a singular purpose. "The Versidians are planning a supply run to their new outpost in the Rigel sector," she told Krell, analyzing the encrypted files. "Minimal escort. Valuable cargo." "You're not ready," Jorax warned when she proposed striking the convoy. "I've been ready since I watched them murder my husband," Naomi replied, her enhanced eyes flaring. "Time to show the hegemony they created something they can't control." As they prepared for the mission, recruiting a small crew of specialists with their own reasons to hate the Versidians, Naomi chose a new identity. "Phoenix," she said when asked what to call her, "because I rose from the ashes they left behind." Part 3. First blood, the Versidian supply vessel Relentless cut through the void, flanked by 2 patrol ships. Inside its hold, terraforming equipment, weapons, and fabricated structures, everything needed to solidify control of their newest acquisition. Commander Drex stood on the bridge, 6 years of military service evident in the ceremonial scarring that marked his blue-ridged face. The conquest of the human colony Harmony Station, they had called it, had earned him this promotion. "Status report," he demanded. "Optimal, Commander," his second replied. "We'll reach the outpost in 17 hours." A proximity alert suddenly blared. "Unidentified vessel approaching, sir. It's unusually small." Drex's 4 eyes narrowed. "Scan it." Before the technician could comply, 2 more ships appeared, seemingly from nowhere. "Ambush!" Drex shouted, the first vessel barely larger than a shuttle accelerated toward them, evading defensive fire with impossible agility. The other ships targeted the escorts with precision strikes to engines and weapon systems. "They're using hegemony attack patterns," Drex realized with shock. How the bridge doors exploded inward. Through the smoke stepped a figure in matte black armor that seemed to absorb light. Behind her came others, a Cenovian male, a Tralaxian female with tech interfaces covering her arms, and 2 mercenaries of species Drex didn't recognize. "Security breach on the bridge," Drex shouted into his comm. The figure leading the boarding party approached with fluid grace. Only when she removed her helmet did Drex pause. A human female, but changed. Cybernetic enhancements visible at her temples, eyes glowing an unnatural blue. Something about her face triggered recognition in Drex's memory banks. "You don't remember me," she said, voice calm despite the chaos around them. "Harmony Station. You left me for dead." Realization dawned. "The security chief." Drex reached for his sidearm. "Phoenix now," she corrected, moving with enhanced speed to disarm him. "My crew is taking control of your ship. Resist and die." The Tralaxian Talia plugged directly into the ship systems. "I've locked out their security protocols. Cargo bay is secure." "The escort vessels?" Phoenix asked. "Disabled," replied Krell, the Cenovian. "Jorax sends his regards from the engine room. Says their reactor is secured." Phoenix kept her weapon trained on Drex. "Have your crew surrender. No one needs to die today." "The hegemony doesn't surrender," Drex spat. "Then the hegemony will learn a painful lesson." She struck him precisely, rendering him unconscious rather than killing him. Within an hour, the Relentless was under their control, its crew contained in secure areas. As Phoenix explored the cargo hold, Talia called her to the communications center. "You need to see this," a tech specialist said, displaying intercepted transmissions. "They're planning attacks on 3 more human colonies." Phoenix studied the data, her enhanced vision processing the information rapidly. "This isn't just expansion. They're systematically eliminating human presence in this sector." "It gets worse," Talia continued. "The Versidians found something on Harmony Station research data about some kind of dimensional stabilizer technology. They think humans are close to a breakthrough that would threaten their military advantage." Phoenix thought of Vincent's research team, their classified work on dimensional physics. Was this why the Versidians had attacked? Had her husband and son died for scientific data? "Load everything of value," Phoenix ordered, then set the self-destruct sequence. Later, watching from their ship as the Relentless erupted into a spectacular explosion, Phoenix sent a transmission across all Versidian channels. "This is Phoenix, speaking for those you silenced at Harmony Station. Your supply line is broken. Your outpost will wither. And I'm just getting started." As they prepared to jump to FTL, Krell approached her on the bridge. "You let Commander Drex live. Left him in an escape pod before the explosion." "I want him to deliver my message," she replied. "And I want him to know fear." Krell's hand found hers in the darkness of the bridge. "This won't bring them back." "No," Phoenix agreed, her blue eyes reflecting the distant stars. "But it might save others." In his escape pod, drifting amid the debris of his ship, Commander Drex received a transmission from Hegemony High Command. "Return immediately to explain this catastrophic failure." As the pod systems locked onto the nearest Versidian outpost, Drex struggled with an unfamiliar sensation, the first stirrings of doubt about the invincibility of the hegemony. 6 months after the Relentless operation, Phoenix's reputation had spread across the fringe systems. What began as a personal vendetta had evolved into something larger, a symbol of resistance against Versidian expansion. "You've inspired quite the following," remarked Daria Sokolov, captain of the independent freighter Redemption. She had once transported colonists for the Earth Expansion Initiative until Versidian forces destroyed her ship, killing everyone but her. They stood in a converted asteroid hangar that served as Phoenix's base of operations, watching as members of a dozen species prepared ships and weapons. What had started with Phoenix and Krell's small crew had grown to a coalition of the displaced and vengeful. "I never wanted followers," Phoenix replied, her enhanced eyes scanning the activity below. "Just justice. Justice revenge the line blurs." Daria shrugged. "But they believe in you, the human who fights back." Later that night, Phoenix found Krell in their quarters, studying tactical displays. "The Trilaxian network intercepted something interesting," he said as she entered. "The Versidian High Council is holding an emergency session on their command vessel, Dominance. Every major military commander will attend." Phoenix approached, resting her hands on his shoulders. Their relationship had deepened over months of shared danger and purpose, becoming one of the few things that reminded her of her humanity. "Including Drex?" "Promoted to fleet commander after surviving the Relentless. They're discussing how to handle the Phoenix problem." Krell turned, pulling her close. This could be an opportunity. She allowed herself a moment of vulnerability, her forehead against his, or a trap. "Most definitely both," he agreed, his amber skin glowing softly in the dim light. Their intimate moment was interrupted by Talia entering without announcement, her cybernetic implants pulsing with data streams. "Sorry to interrupt," the Trilaxian said without sounding particularly sorry, "but we've got priority situation. The hegemony has dispatched Sentinel Vax to hunt you." Phoenix tensed. The Sentinels were the Versidians' elite hunters, cybernetically enhanced and programmed for absolute loyalty. "How long?" "He's already claimed 3 of our allied ships," Talia reported, left one survivor on each to spread fear. Phoenix's planning accelerated. Using intelligence gathered from their previous operations, they formulated a bold strike. Infiltrate the Versidian communications hub on Darius IV to gather the exact coordinates and security protocols for the High Council meeting. The mission required precision. Phoenix led a small team including Krell and Jorax, the ex-Versidian warrior whose knowledge of hegemony security systems proved invaluable. Their arrogance is their weakness, Jorax explained as they infiltrated the facility. They cannot conceive of failure. The team successfully extracted the necessary data, but during their escape, they encountered unexpected resistance. A squad led by a figure in distinctive black armor with pulsing red cybernetics. "Sentinel Vax," Jorax whispered, genuine fear. In his voice, the firefight was brutal. Jorax took a lethal hit, covering their retreat, his last act a defiant roar in his native tongue. Phoenix and Krell barely escaped with the data, their ship sustaining heavy damage as they fled to hyperspace. Back at their base, as Talia decoded the stolen information, Phoenix mourned Jorax in the Versidian tradition he had taught her. Ritual of remembrance and promise. Krell found her afterward, silently offering comfort. Their embrace led to a night of passionate connection, two beings finding solace amid loss and the certainty of more battles to come. "If we succeed," Krell said afterward, tracing the line where cybernetics met skin along her spine. "What then?" Phoenix had no answer. For so long, vengeance had been her only future. The possibility of afterward remained uncharted territory. The next morning, Talia presented her findings. "The dominance will be in the Gala Nebula in 3 days. I've extracted their security protocols, but they're changing algorithms every 6 hours. Then we go now," Phoenix decided. "Prepare all combat-ready ships." As the Resistance fleet assembled 27 vessels of various sizes and capabilities, Phoenix addressed them from the bridge of her command ship, now named Harmony's Echo. "Today we strike at the heart of the hegemony," she told them. "Not just for those we've lost, but for all who will be next if we fail." The fleet jumped to hyperspace, leaving the safety of their hidden base. Unknown to them, Sentinel Vax had placed a tracking device on their ship during the communications hub. Battle and was following. The Galen Nebula's crimson gases swirled around the Versidian. Command Vessel Dominance, a massive ship that dwarfed even the largest vessels in Phoenix's Resistance fleet. Within its armored hull, the hegemony's High Council debated how to eliminate the growing rebellion. The human female must be terminated, First Minister Zahn insisted, his ceremonial armor glinting in the chamber's harsh light. This Phoenix has become a symbol that threatens stability across 3 sectors. Fleet Commander Drex, bearing new scars from his encounter with Phoenix, stepped forward. "I volunteer to lead the hunt personally. I underestimated her once. It will not happen again." Outside the nebula, Phoenix's fleet prepared for their most audacious assault. The plan was complex, a frontal diversionary attack by the main fleet, while Phoenix led a small infiltration team aboard the Dominance dot in the launch bay of Harmony's Echo. Phoenix checked her weapons one final time, her tactical armor now enhanced, with stolen Versidian technology molded perfectly to her form. "The diversion will give us 12 minutes at most," she told her strike team, Krell, Talia, and 3 other specialists. "We get to the council chamber, secure the leadership, and force a stand-down order to all hegemony forces." Krell adjusted his plasma rifle. "And if they refuse? Then we ensure they never threaten another colony." Phoenix's enhanced eyes flickered. "With determination. One way or another, this ends today." Their stealth shuttle launched, using a combination of Tralaxian cloaking technology and falsified Versidian identification codes to approach the Dominance. As predicted, when the main fleet engaged, the command ship's attention focused outward. The infiltration proceeded according to plan until they reached Deck 7. Waiting for them in a corridor stood Sentinel Vax, his cybernetic systems humming with lethal intent. Probability of your infiltration was calculated at 97.3%, he stated, voice devoid of emotion. Your capture is my primary directive. Take the others and continue to the objective, Phoenix told Krell. I'll handle this. Naomi, he began, using her real name. Complete the mission, she interrupted. I'll find you. The battle between Phoenix and Sentinel Vax was a blur of enhanced reflexes and devastating strikes. Both combatants pushed their cybernetic systems beyond normal parameters. For every advantage Phoenix gained with her unorthodox style, Vax countered with precise Versidian combat algorithms. You fight well for a human, Vax acknowledged as they circled each other, both bleeding from multiple wounds. I'm not just human anymore, Phoenix replied. The hegemony saw to that. Their final exchange left both severely damaged. Phoenix managed to override Vax's primary systems with a neural disruptor designed by Talia, leaving the Sentinel paralyzed, but conscious. The hegemony created me to be perfect, Vax said as Phoenix limped away. How did you defeat me? Because I remember what it means to lose everything, she answered. Your perfection can't match that. Phoenix reached the council chamber to find chaos. Krell and the team had secured most of the Versidian leadership, but First Minister Zahn was dead killed by Commander Drex in what appeared to be an internal power struggle. The commander had his own plans, Krell explained, securing a wounded Talia behind cover. He's accessed the ship's core weapon systems. Over the intercom, Drex's voice echoed. The hegemony has grown weak, accommodating lesser species. I will demonstrate true strength by eliminating this human resistance and all their sympathizers. Phoenix accessed a terminal, her cybernetic interfaces connecting directly with the ship's systems. He's activated a quantum cascade device. If it detonates, it will destroy everything in this nebula, including all inhabited systems within 5 light years. Can you stop it? Krell asked. Not remotely. I need to reach the weapons control center. Phoenix downloaded the ship's schematics. There's a direct route through the maintenance tubes. The remaining Versidian counselors, now hostages, watched in disbelief as their enemies worked to save them. Why would you help us? One asked. After everything we've done? Because unlike you, Phoenix replied, I remember the difference between justice and genocide. In the maintenance shaft, Phoenix confronted the truth she'd been avoiding. Stopping the device would require a direct neural interface, one-way connection that would overwhelm any organic brain. When she reached the weapons control center, Drex waited with the Cascade device's activation key. I studied you, he said. After you took my ship, I realized what makes humans dangerous. You never accept defeat. And Versidians never question orders, Phoenix countered. Even when they're wrong. Their final confrontation was brief but vicious. Though Drex fought with the desperation of fanaticism, Phoenix had transcended her limitations. When it ended, Drex lay dying, the Cascade device still counting down. Phoenix connected her neural implants to the device. Pain flooded her system. As she began the shutdown sequence, memories flashed through her consciousness. Vincent's smile, Ethan's laughter, Harmony Station before the attack, and more recent moments Krell's touch. The faces of those who had joined her cause. Krell found her there, slumped over the controls, the device deactivated. Naomi, he whispered, cradling her. Her eyes flickered open, the cybernetic blue dimming. The fleet? We won. The hegemony ships are standing down. He gestured to the Versidian counselors who had followed him. They've agreed to negotiations, reparations for destroyed colonies, a recognition of boundaries. Phoenix smiled faintly. Then it wasn't just revenge after all. No, Krell agreed. It was revolution. In the days that followed, as Phoenix slowly recovered from neural damage, a peace accord was drafted between the hegemony and the coalition of species she had united. The terms included not only cessation of Versidian expansion, but the establishment of a neutral zone where displaced peoples could rebuild. On a medical ship orbiting the nebula's edge, Phoenix stood at a viewport, watching distant stars. Her reflection showed a face forever changed, part human, part machine, wholly transformed by loss and purpose. Krell joined her, his amber hand finding hers. The coalition is asking what comes next. They still look to you for leadership. I've been fighting for so long, she said quietly. I'm not sure I remember how to live. And we learn together, he suggested. There's a settlement forming on the edge of the neutral zone. Scientists, refugees, rebuilders. They could use experienced leadership. Phoenix considered the possibility of aftermath, of building rather than destroying. She thought of Vincent, and what he would have wanted, of Ethan and the future that had been stolen from him. Phoenix died with the hegemony's surrender, she decided. Perhaps Naomi Reeves can live again. As their ship changed course toward the newborn settlement, Naomi felt something she had thought lost forever in the ruins of Harmony Station, the first fragile tendrils of hope.